In the most recent episode of The Shop, LeBron James offered up his thoughts on the difference in NFL ownership and NBA ownership.
In the NFL, they got a bunch of old white men owning teams, and they got that slave mentality, and it's like, this is my team. You do what the I tell y'all to do, or we get rid of y'all. I'm so appreciative in our league of our commissioner. Like, he at least want to hear us out. As long as we're doing it in a very educational, non-violent way, then he's absolutely okay with it, because at the end of the day, the players is who make the ship go.
Okay, so the key phrase there is slave mentality.
I was going to say, I know right away that you probably cringe. Right, it's a trigger word, and people cringe because they say, how can you equate playing basketball or playing sports, making millions of dollars, to being a slave? It doesn't go together, and it softens or lightens what people really went through slavery. To call yourself a slave making $25 million is ludicrous. Am I right?
Yes.
Right. And I get it. When he talks about slave...
And he didn't say they're being treated like modern-day slaves,
no.
In fairness. He said that the owners have
a mentality.
Slave mentality.
And he even addressed it by saying, it's my team, and you're going to do what I tell you to do. Do you know what I mean? Yes. And that's it. That's really what he's talking about. It's a mentality of, you're going to do what I want because I own this, not... Whereas I think NBA, when they look at it, there's more of a partnership, I think, with players and owners in the NBA.
Perceived partnership. Yes.
Perceived.
Yes.
Not totally great, but you know what I mean. But more so than the NFL, and I think that's what he's talking about.
Yes.
So you don't have an issue with it.
Yes.
All right. What's your issue?
But it's not a slave mentality. It's an ownership mentality. It's an owner-employee mentality. That's what it is.
But that's not all employees, though. I mean, not all employers. There are great places to work where they treat the employees great.
Okay, but again, this is he's first of all, he's talking about perception, not actual reality.
No. This is perception.
Right. His perception of it is that all NFL teams are, you do what I say and that's what you do. Like, well, that's not accurate.
But I'll tell you this.
That's not accurate. Okay, this is all a reaction. It's all a reaction to, I think, a couple things. The misperception, and honestly, we do a terrible job in the. We in the media have become so pro-player, it's kind of gross. Like, we don't even want to tell the truth. Like, oh well, NFL contracts aren't guaranteed. Well, first of all, rookie contracts, first-round picks are actually fully guaranteed.
Yeah, but a lot of the players, the majority of them can be cut. They're not guaranteed. The majority.
They can be cut, and there are guarantees. The guarantees are not as much as the players would like them to be.
Right.
But that's not a non-guaranteed contract.
Right.
That's a lie when people say they're not guaranteed and you get cut. That's not true. There are NBA contracts which are not fully guaranteed.
Are there?
Yes. The minimum deals aren't always fully guaranteed until there are deals in which even veteran contracts there's a. It's in January, like January 21st.
No, I get you. Well, you have to reach a certain threshold before it becomes
vested, before it becomes guaranteed.
But those things, you don't. There are very few situations where guys don't get their money.
I'll just use this. I'll just use it as a perfect example. Okay, perception is baseball has the best contracts, and the NFL has the worst contracts. Right? That's perception. And I've told this to people all the time. Like, the idea that if Kyler Murray could be a first-round draft pick, financially, the smart decision is to go to the NFL, not to Major League Baseball.
Nah, I disagree.
Okay.
Long-term, health-wise and long-term, Dave Winfield, I always look at Dave. Dave Winfield was drafted.
3 sports.
Right, and 4 leagues. ABA, NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Played 20 years, is still healthy.
Great.
Still doing it, and made a ton of money in his 20. And I'm not saying everybody's going to be Dave Winfield.
Uh-huh.
But when you talk about the potential injuries and how most NFL players' career is 3.5 years, is that what it is? I mean, you could get hurt on every play. There's all kinds of other things that fall in the line. And he's an undersized quarterback and a lot of other things that go with it.
Okay, so there's a couple things.
Right.
Okay, and I don't want to get away from
let's not get away with
LeBron's thing, but let me just crush that argument really quickly.
All right,
okay?
do that.
First of all, he plays quarterback, which is the most protected position in the sport. So protected that Phillip Rivers, who can't run at all, has started, I think, 207 consecutive games?
Okay.
Okay, now look, Kyler runs around, so he could get hurt. But if Kyler Murray is a first-round draft pick, he'll get a 4-year guaranteed contract. He'll make somewhere in the neighborhood, even as the last guy picked, he'll make somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million guaranteed over the first 4 years, and he'll be in the NFL. His Major League Baseball contract, which he really only had one good year of playing, it's a $5 million. It's $5 million.
They gave him $5 million already,
right? But he's not in major. Not in major
he's
leagues.
in the minor leagues. Right.
Okay, and the perfect example of how you have to really make it in baseball. Make it in baseball to make money. People think that you make baseball and you're making money.
No.
How much did Aaron Judge make last year?
I don't know. Probably still in a rookie. I'd say $500,000 or $600,000.
$600,000.
Yeah, $500,000 or $600,000.
Okay, now look, Aaron Judge.
He's going to get his.
He's going to get a couple $100 million. But he's one of 20 guys. Now, if Kyler Murray is going to be one of those 20 or 30 or 50 guys that make it 5-6 years in the league in Major League Baseball, which again is, we're talking 5-6 years from now.
No, there's no doubt about it.
It's a long-term play.
You got to go to the minor leagues. You got to put in. I get all that. I'm just saying if you have the ability to play, a lot of guys don't have an option. So you're going to play football. You're going to take whatever is in front of you.
Right.
Very few people, when teams give you $5 million, they really believe you have something going. They're not just handing. They're not handing out $5 million.
They also gave it to him because the threat of playing football.
Well, they let him play football. He didn't even have to. They didn't even have to allow him. He signed with them.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have signed otherwise. Like it's all a leverage. It's all a leverage play. Here's the bigger point. The point is that we operate in this world where NFL players have convinced society that they're not getting their fair share. That they're not. That when general managers cut a guy, they put that money that they saved in their pocket, which is not accurate. They actually have to spread around to somebody else and spend all this money. We also operate in this world where NFL players somehow are treated as subservient human beings, which is not accurate. They're not. What you can't do when you're running a franchise is, hold on, we want to make a decision. Let's get all 53 in here and let's take a poll on what you guys want to do. You have to sacrifice some of your opinion, some of your ego, but it's not a slave mentality. This is how employers and employees work. This is how leadership works. And can we have a leadership council? Sure, but we're not going to poll all of you guys when we make franchise-changing decisions. Sorry, that's not the way business works.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that argument. I think that there's just different ways that people look at it. That conversation LeBron had in the barbershop is a common conversation that's had amongst black fans and black people. It's just this whole idea that there's a difference between the leagues and how NFL players are more nameless, faceless, because there's so many of them.
But that's a sport.
No, I'm just saying that.
But that's the sport.
And it always comes down to like there's always like a threat against NFL play. You're going to do this or else, kind of. And I think that's the mentality.
Threat? The NBA has the exact same rules.
No, that was worked into a CBA.
There's
no rule.
Hold on.
No, Doug.
Did they extend the CBA in the offseason?
Let me just say this.
Did they extend the CBA in the offseason?
But Doug, nowhere the NFL would rather take guys who are felons, rapists, domestic violence abusers, and they're going to blackball a guy for doing something that wasn't a crime. When people see that separates the two.
Hold on, you're painting an inaccurate picture of the Colin Kaepernick thing.
Why? That's what they did. They blackballed him.
He's not on a team for a myriad of reasons.
No, that's the reason.
That's not true.
That is the reason.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a lie. Okay, why did he lose his job in San Francisco to begin with?
No, that's not.
Why did he lose his job in San Francisco? Let's tell truth.
All these
hold
players.
On. Stop. Let's start. I'm going to allow you to answer all these questions. Why did he lose his job in San Francisco the first time?
Because they wanted to make a change.
No, why did he lose his job? One, his performance wasn't as good. Two, he was not seen as a leader. Guys didn't like him because he had no lead. He had his headphones. Remember the stories? He had headphones on in the facility. He didn't talk to anybody. He was nonverbal. He was a very quiet.
You mean the guy that went to 3 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl? That guy?
2 NFC championship games.
I thought they went to 3.
He went to 2.
I thought they went to 3.
I believe we went to 2, but we can look it up.
We'll look it up.
They were 8-8. The team had begun to fall apart.
I get that.
And he lost his job to Blaine Gabbert.
No. But losing his job doesn't mean he shouldn't play anywhere in the NFL.
Hold on.
They blackballed him, Doug. That's what they did.
Did he lose his job several times because of performance before any of the kneeling? Okay, so in order to get back in the league, he was not going to get back in the league as a starter. He was offered. He could have come to Denver and taken a pay hit to play for the Denver Broncos. He chose to not do so. Like, look, no one has even pointed out the fact that he went to Seattle, visited the Seahawks. This is going back a year and a half ago, right? And they had Russell Wilson. And what'd they say afterwards? He thinks he's a starting quarterback.
Okay, you were right. He went to two. Two and one Super Bowl.
We think he's a starting quarterback. The translation there is he didn't want to go in and be somebody's backup. The job to be a backup. Why did Mark Sanchez get the job with the Skins as their backup? It's not just because he didn't kneel before the flag. It's because Mark Sanchez is the greatest backup ever. Everybody likes him. He's completely invested in the starter. That's it. That's the job of the backup. And Colin Kaepernick does not want to play football. He doesn't. He doesn't want to go. And it's really hard to have a guy who's going to come in as somebody's backup who the media is going to ask, well, did he take reps today? Is he going to play? Is he going to kneel? Nobody wants that in football. That's the business. In addition to, do I think they want a guy who there's been other guys that are still protesting the flag, holding up a black fist and doing black power. They're not being blackballed. I understand that a portion of it is he's symbolic.
He is symbolic, and what you do is, in order to stop other people, you go for the head, you go for the main guy, and you squash him to let other players know that if you do this and you continue to do this, this will happen to you. That's the message, Doug.
I understand.
That is the message by NFL owners.
But NBA players saying our league is better. That's funny.
I disagree.
They have the exact same rule.
I disagree with that rule in the NBA and the CBA and the players who agreed to that. I totally agree.
But if you don't like the rule in the CBA, why, when the CBA was extended in this last offseason,
I got it.
Was it not addressed?
I don't know if it was, but it's a shame that they didn't do it.
But you know why? Because they're all making money and they don't really care.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could say that, but I'm just telling you that's the reason, the mentality of NFL owners, and I think that's why there's an issue with people. And everybody looks at it differently.
So you're cool with LeBron saying that NBA owners have a slave mentality?
I get where he's saying. I don't think it's as literal as people want to take it.
I just think it's a trigger word, and
it is a trigger word, and people will react to it.
Yes, but I don't think the reaction will be what he intends it to be. And here's my disappointment. I thought his idea of the shop was, hey, I'm LeBron. I want to be more than basketball. I want to take some of those same conversations that I believe are being had in barbershops across the country and elevating it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he might be having some of those same conversations. I don't think there's any elevation of it.
Well,
I think it's falling into the same kind of classic cliche narratives where, look, he didn't play in the NFL. And not every NFL player has the belief that there's somehow a slave owner mentality of
I'm not saying
NFL
all,
owner.
but he knows people and guys. There's a whole
sure,
and there's conversations, Doug. Just like you talk to people, and people tell you stuff, and trust me.
Like how different it. Look, Odell Beckham Jr. Like this whole it's different in the NBA than it is the NFL. Well, you have helmets on. There's 53 guys.
Yep.
Okay, Odell Beckham Jr. has found a way to break out from behind the shield and become a.
Because he made a great catch on Sunday Night Football
correct.
with the entire country watching, and it forever changed his life.
Am I right? Yes. And by the way, he basically stole Kenny Stills' hair, right? I don't know if you know this. Kenny Stills, of course, played at Oklahoma, playing for the Dolphins. At the time he played for the Saints. Kenny Stills went and saw him play at LSU. Went in the locker room afterwards. And met Odell Beckham Jr. He's like, "Yo, I love your hair."
And then turned into it the next day.
No, when he went pro,
right.
Then he dyed his hair, and that's kind of become his signature.
Right.
Okay, so NFL owners are the worst. They're the worst. I'm telling you, they're all slave master mentality. Okay? Odell Beckham Jr.'s contract wasn't even up. Okay? Contract wasn't up. He was injured during his rookie contract. He was a malcontent. He was a problem. Then, in the offseason, he was in bed with a woman and there's cocaine somewhere in the room, or
are you sure they were cocaine?
A powdery substance that looked a hell of a lot like I have never.
I thought it was Parmesan cheese that was on the nightstand.
Full disclosure, I've never actually seen cocaine.
Neither have I.
Okay, I've never actually seen cocaine. But everybody I know who has was like, damn, what's Odell Beckham Jr. doing with some cocaine? Okay, so
they could tell from a grainy picture that was cocaine for sure.
They're pretty. It had
I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
The point is this.
I saw it. I couldn't tell.
3 months later, he hadn't played a football game. Hadn't played a game. Not a snap. Nothing. He was given it the biggest contract we had seen to a wide receiver. Why? Because he's talented, and they want to keep him happy. And by the way, it's backfired massively. But the point is that there's this slave owner. Like, most people with a brain look at it and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. There's no correlation between a slave owner mentality and an owner-employee mentality where you're treated with respect. And how much you work is based upon what's collectively bargained upon, and you're paid your value commensurate with what you can bring to the table.
That all sounds logical, but that's not the world we live in. No, it's not. That's your reality. That's your reality, Doug.
That's the victim mentality of, oh my gosh, NFL players are so mistreated.
No, but
they're not.
But I'm not saying
they're
like
not. They play a really violent game. And it's an incredible sport that it's the greatest team sport of any of the sports that we watch.
Okay.
But in order to have a team sport, you have to have leadership. You have to have a pecking order. And sometimes you're going to have to do stuff you don't want to do.
You will never get people, and especially black people who live in this country. And yes, we come with the scars. We do, Doug. We come with the scars.
As a Jewish person,
you understand that. You get that.
I completely get it.
Okay, so
I get it. I get that. That our country treated black people completely and horribly. And
we served in the military and we're separated and given different food to eat.
Understood. Understood. But you're also this is a sport which has made more black men millionaires than any other.
Not by just because they want to make black men millionaires, because they've made billions off of it. It has nothing to do with it. This is why the Kaepernick things bothers people.
Okay.
Sports is supposed to be the ultimate equal playing field.
It is.
Right? Ultimate.
It absolutely is.
Because the country's 75% white and the NFL 75% black.
Right.
Because it's based on if the white guy was as fast or strong or big or whatever, he would get the job. They're not signing black players because they like black guys and they want to give them millions of dollars.
Correct.
They sign them because they're better.
Correct.
And that's why I think people have a problem with the Kaepernick thing is when you look around the NFL, and Doug, I'm not saying he's the guy he was with the 49ers.
Right.
I'm saying that without the protest, Kaepernick would have an opportunity in the NFL when guys got hurt or other situations because of his track record. When Peterman and these other guys keep bouncing around and getting situations, people look at it and say because he cares about unarmed black men being killed, it's the worst thing in the world. I could see you would rather give people who have drug problems second chances, who beat women, who do all that.
All right, if we're going to tell truth, Colin Kaepernick would be employed by the Baltimore Ravens if it wasn't for the fact that his idiot girlfriend puts out an Instagram which links the owner of the Ravens to being... No, listen, I want to make sure people get it. When they watch the NFL, I want you to think about this. You're Steve Bisciotti, okay? You're Steve Bisciotti, who stood by Ray Lewis when he's accused of conspiracy to commit murder. Stood by Ray Lewis, okay? And in truth, he stood by Ray Rice. Before the video came out.
Before the video,
okay?
Even though they knew something went down in there.
Okay, so they wanted Colin Kaepernick. That was Ray Lewis wanted Colin Kaepernick. But dude, the second you call a white person who's not a racist, I'm done with you. Because you know what? There's nothing I can do to rid myself of that label. And so if Colin Kaepernick want to be in this league, hey, next time a team reaches out to you, maybe, just maybe, you should have your girlfriend not put out an Instagram which calls the owner of the team that wants to employ you a slave owner.
So was that Colin who put that out, or his girlfriend?
That was his girlfriend.
Okay, so
it doesn't matter. The point is,
he's responsible for everything his girlfriend. I'm just asking you, Doug.
Yes, you are responsible.
If your wife does something crazy, Fox Sports Radio comes out and says, "Doug, your wife did something crazy. We're going to take your show away." I'm asking you. No, it would not happen.
No, that's not true. First of all, his wife is his girlfriend at the time. His girlfriend is a media personality.
Right. I know she worked for what is it, Hot 97 in New York?
Yes. Okay.
So one of those radio stations.
Yes, like, look, she's a big thing. It's not like she's working in Topeka.
No, I got it.
She's spinning records. Okay, so
she's a New York personality.
Right, so you put it out there and everybody sees it. But yes, if my wife who has
I'm not throwing it out there. Right.
No.
I'm just
if she says like, hey, Fox Sports hates Jews. Right? Or something like that. Whatever. Like, yeah, there's going to be ramifications for it.
Do you think you would lose your job, or they would look at it and say, that's your wife off the handle, she had a crazy day, she said, Doug, you would not lose your job because if you said it in a bar and people heard it, then that would be different.
If it made the news, if people covered it, yeah, I do think it would become an issue. Do I know if I'd lose my job? I don't know. But the way it usually works in the media is you might keep your job but lose your career, right? Like, yeah, it's all good, and then like, hey, what about contract extension? Like, yeah, no, we're good here.
Thanks, Doug.
That's the way it actually works. So the point is, like, everyone's saying like, why isn't he in the league? Well, he went to Seattle, and clearly Russell Wilson didn't want him there. Okay, and there was no contract demands. He wanted to be a starter. So there was something that went off there. Then Baltimore wanted him to come in. People forget Flacco was coming off of surgery. This is going back a year ago. And the IG came out and they were like, we're done.
But Doug,
we're done.
Here's my issue.
Done.
NFL is
we can sit there and say they're all racist, or maybe the owner of the Ravens and other owners are like, I don't want to be called a racist.
Okay.
I don't.
That's fair. You could put that out there, but I'm going to just say, here's the problem I have. The NFL is full of hypocrites, and the NFL does stuff, all right, they say it should only be about football. Breast cancer awareness, what does it have to do with football, Doug? What does that have to do with football?
I don't know where you're going with it, but what do you mean?
I'm talking about the pink cleats, the selling of all the stuff to raise money, right?
When did the NFL say it was only supposed to be about football?
Because that was the reason that I hear from fans that they don't want to hear about the Colin Kaepernick situation. That the argument I hear all the time is, I'm here to see football. I'm not here for anything else. And I'll ask you another one. In 1990, hold on.
You asked a question and then you didn't let me answer.
Okay. I want to give you one more, and then you tell me.
All right, go.
Okay, so when the NFL went to Arizona and they told the state of Arizona, where the people voted not to have the Martin Luther King holiday, they told the people of Arizona, if you don't have the Martin Luther King holiday, you'll never have another Super Bowl.
Correct.
Is that social or is that football? What is that?
I don't know why you wouldn't have a Martin Luther King Jr.
No, but that's not. The people of Arizona voted. They said they didn't want it.
I understand.
I'm asking you, is that social? Is that a social issue or is that football? That's all I'm asking.
I would say it's a social issue.
Okay, so the NFL deals in social issues.
Look,
when it's good for them, they deal in social issues. That's the problem
I think there's a litany of things here, okay?
The only reason that they do
Listen. This is really important, okay? I understand and can appreciate the protest. There's a bunch of things that you're only telling half the story. Remember, Kaepernick protests. Kaepernick had the pig socks. Kaepernick had the Castro shirt. Kaepernick, by the way, he's this leader of a movement who never makes any appearances and any speeches in terms of leadership of a movement. So he had this incredible thing that he started, and then just kind of went about his business. So there's a lot.
I think he made a point that something that was going on in the country that was an epidemic. I applaud him for standing up and giving up his career. Oh, I do, Doug, because I think in just like Muhammad Ali and other people.
He's not Muhammad Ali.
Hold on.
Okay.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
In the long run, history will be on his side, that he was trying to make a point about what was going on in the country at that time, which was very important to our community, where unarmed black men were being shot and killed by white police. That's worth fighting for. And I understand.
But he's not fighting for it.
No, that was.
He's not fighting for it.
He's done a lot of stuff in the community with his own money. I applaud a guy.
But listen, if Colin Kaepernick,
the football game's not important.
That's fine. Okay, it's important. It appears to be important to everybody except for Colin Kaepernick. By the way, why hasn't Colin Kaepernick appeared on any of these shows? If you're on Undisputed, if he texts you and says, "Hey, can I come on Undisputed?"
We'll give you the whole show.
The whole show.
2 hours.
The whole
2.5
week,
hours.
The whole month. Are you kidding? Of course they would. He's like the most leader that there has ever been. Please don't. And this is like, let's it's the same in the slave mentality thing. Like we're linking things which are not, like Muhammad Ali gave up arguably the greatest boxing career because of his religious beliefs. He did not want to go and serve his country in an unjust war, right? He gave up the 3 prime years of his career.
No doubt about it.
And he was willing to be an outspoken leader of the movement, as well as the fact that he was part of a misunderstood religion when he was a Muslim, when it scared a lot of white people. I think it's very different.
And that guy went on to light the torch for this country in the Olympics.
Remarkable.
In Atlanta. Unbelievable.
And there's a great discussion there. There's also parts to this which even though I don't believe that's the reason, I know that's not the reason for the protest. It's when you're protesting the flag, there is a section of the people that are like, look, you're protesting the things that we stand for and for our military. That's why we have the flag. And the police officers who you're saying are pigs with your socks are the people that are protecting you when you're on the football field or when you're out in public. There's a lot to it. But the idea that Kaepernick was a great player and now he's not in the league because there's other guys that are inferior to him. There's parts of the job that he didn't want. There's parts of the job that he's not equipped for. And there's other parts to Kaepernick which are loaded, which never get discussed. And football seems to be important to everybody except for Colin Kaepernick.
Just remember the term. Nobody ever says they were white-balled out of something. They were black-balled. Just remember that.
No, I'm aware of the white hat and wearing the black hat. It's great.
And also, when you play pool, what do? The white ball knocks every ball off the table, and then the black ball for last. Just remember that.
You become that guy. You become that. It's racial. It's racial. That's what it is.